Jason, if I wasn't very technically astute and I didn't necessarily know a lot about Glint and how to use it or how to use that kind of technology, how would you explain it in a few simple terms, what Glint actually does and how it can help people?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think the two of the main things that it helps people with in their lives is reducing the systemic risk for them, so that if there's a financial crisis, they're protecting themselves from that by using Glint, and also they're protecting themselves from the destructive effects of inflation as well. But it's very easy to use. We've spent a lot of time trying to make sure that's the case and easy for everybody to be able to use it. So where there's a very close product market fit with, for instance, people who have money, savings, there is also product market fit for people who have philosophically believe in an independent form of money. So we have to address both of those markets, and they can be across numerous age groups as well. But for instance, all you have to do is download the Glint app from the iOS or the Google Play Store. Once you've done that, you go through a very quick registration process. It doesn't take long, and just a few minutes. And most people get authorized straight away. At that point, they can open their app, and they can deposit some money through into this account via bank transfer or card payment. Glint is actually a multi-currency account. It's a multi-currency account that has pounds, euros and dollars in, as well as for the first time ever being able to have gold in a multi-currency account as well. Amazing. Because as part of trying to bring fairness to everybody, we also believe that people shouldn't get ripped off when they exchange between pounds and euros when they go on holiday, or between pounds and dollars if they need to make a payment abroad. We don't want people to be charged for 5%, as sometimes people are charged when they go to airports and things like that. So you can exchange between all these currencies for only 0.5%, and you can also, of course, buy gold on the platform as well. And it's really easy to use, easy to be able to transfer through any of these currencies. We then send you, of course, a Glint card, and with that, you can select on your app which currency which account that card is actually going to use. So most of the time I have mine set to gold, but if I wanted to, for instance, use my euros or pounds, I could simply select that I want to use my euro account, and whatever euros I've got in there I can spend straight away. But one thing I think some people need to understand is that if they're using their gold as money, for instance, they don't need to sell their gold first. They don't need to work out how much gold am I going to spend this week, sell it into pounds, and then spend those pounds when they've done that. The problem with that, of course, is that you can only spend whatever you've converted. With Glint, and when you convert it, it's a systemic risk because it's now a pound, and what happens if the euro collapses or anything like that? So with Glint, when you buy your gold, it's real physical gold. It's held in a very secure, highly secure and insured vault in Switzerland, run by a company called Brinks, who are the world's biggest independent vaulting company. It's outside of the banking system, and it stays as gold until the moment of transaction. So if you go to wherever you go to make your transaction, whether it's a product or service that you're buying, as soon as you use your card, within 200 milliseconds, we authorise and sell just enough gold in that moment to be able to cover the invoice of the merchant. Got it. So whether you're in New York or Tokyo, we'll make that transaction for you.
And just to be clear, with that card, that's almost like using a multi-card. So yes, as you said there, it's almost turning it into a four cards for one if it was euros, dollars, pounds and gold,
That's right.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, so it's great for people who travel, it's great for people doing business in different parts of the world. Fantastic. It's great for people who want to hedge their savings into different currencies.
Thank you for explaining that. Before we jump into what a typical day in the business looks like for you as the business owner, you've obviously been through quite an exciting period, obviously through a raise in terms of investment. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey actually. I mean, because Glint's had to build its own technology. We've had to build our own effective banking, wallet, payments platform, and that's been no mean feat. We couldn't just go to some of the off-the-shelf system providers and say we wanted a multi-currency platform, because none of them, of course, enable gold to be able to use as money. So we had to go through the discipline of building that ourselves. And on that journey, we've had to actually have a number of different raises. We raised £3 million back in 2016. We raised £4.5 million at the end of 2017. And we're currently in the middle of a Series A round of £15 million. And I mean, I can tell you there's all kinds of interesting things about these different raises. I think one of the first things really is that we haven't gone to any venture capital companies so far.
Yeah.
And I kind of do question whether or not the word venture should be used with British VCs, because I don't really see them as venture capital companies. I see them very much more as growth capital companies. If you've got all your metrics right, you know, if all the KPIs, everything in their business is working, it just needs scaling, then they're great. They'll invest a lot of money into your business and see it go forward. But if it's a 0 to 1 business, because I see those other businesses often as, you know, making, a lot of the challenger banks, for instance, are making incremental improvements to an existing product, so a better customer experience, for instance. Is it really, are they doing anything that's fundamentally different? I don't think so, not with most of them. What we're doing at Glint is completely new. It hasn't been able to be done before, to be able to use gold and electronic payments before. In fact, we've not really been using gold since we came off the gold standard, and the convertibility of dollars and pounds from gold ceased to exist. So it's a real, for me, 0 to 1 business. It's never happened before. And so the analysts inside venture capital companies have got to ask themselves the question, am I going to be brave enough to, you know, take a bet on this company for something that I can't measure against anything else? Very difficult for them to do that. I think in the United States it's slightly different, you know, but I do know that I hear that some companies had some challenges. You know, Airbnb raising money apparently at the beginning, a lot of people said no. Well, you're joking. You're kidding me. You think that someone's going to rent a bedroom out in their house to a stranger? You know, go away. And so people always, often when they're doing that, are up against those kind of challenges. What we did instead is we went to high net worth individuals who run their own businesses, or, you know, who are able to make their own decisions, who don't need to be reporting to a boss or anything about, you know, what happens if this investment goes wrong. They can make that decision themselves. Often in a situation where they have wealth and they want to be careful about losing it. So they've been asking some of the same questions that I was asking when we developed the product. And so the first 2 rounds we raised from mainly 100 high net worth individuals. Not all super high net worth. I mean, some of them were yes, people from the financial world, but others were just people who were generally interested in what we were doing. There was 2 exceptions to that. We managed to attract the interest of NEC, the Japanese IT business, a multinational business that some of your listeners might have heard of before, and also the Tokyo Commodities Exchange. And that was a real coup for us, because the Tokyo Commodities Exchange had never invested in a business before. That's not their core business, in fact, and they're also made up of a number of different brokers. And so for the investment to happen, quite a large committee of people needed to be convinced. But what they saw with Glint is that we weren't just going to take market share within the gold space. We're actually going to build market share. We're going to make gold available to everybody, and so we're going to drastically increase the size of the gold market and bring it front of mind again. So we launched the business, we launched the company to people because we've been in stealth for such a long time. We launched the business to people in November 20th, 2017, and we're really pleased about, and quite honoured really, to get the kind of interest we got from the press. So we're featured across the spectrum really in tech and mainstream media. And then we started onboarding clients at the end of February. But the Series A, we looked at it and we thought, okay, we want to raise £15 million, but also if our mantra is that we should be bringing everybody an equal opportunity to prosper, and if we believe that Glint's an awesome business and is going to do really well and meeting a real need, then we should allow everybody to be able to benefit from that. So we opened it up through a crowdfunding with Crowdcube, and we targeted £1.25 million. Which we thought was going to be quite a stretch, because that's quite a lot of money to ask individuals to be able to come up with, especially for a brand like Glint, which, you know, wasn't particularly well known. It'd only been going a few months. But we smashed our target within the first 72 hours. We were really pleased to reach 1.25 million. And the interest was just staggering and really flattering. And the interest as well inside the forum, the Crowdcube forum. Crowdcube said to us that it was the most engaged Crowdcube program that they've ever experienced. The number of questions and engagement we're getting from the Crowdcube audience was actually quite a challenge to us. We had a lot of questions to answer, but we did. And it's wonderful now to see, even as people ask questions, or I mean, the Crowdcube finished, but to see people engaging in that